Life can be so challenging. Where can you go to get divine clarification, help, and advice? Well, may I introduce Natasha Venter, medium coach and direct connection to your guides and angels. Through her podcast, Life Clarifications, Natasha will help you navigate through and create your life's destiny. My name is Kevin McDonald, co-host of this podcast, and I've seen her work and know that through her incredible talent, you can be changed forever. So let's start another episode of Life Clarifications with Natasha. And welcome, everybody, to Life Clarifications with Natasha. How are you today, my dear?
I am doing really well, and just kind of managing what's been put in front of me today, just like all of us do. And it's been amazing watching how things have navigated today and how they kind of interweaved with me. And that's one thing that Kevin and I were talking about for the few minutes that I have between this and that, about how things interweave together. And it's amazing how in sync some things are and yet not.
It is truly amazing, and so tell us about your day with nature at the schoolhouse today.
Well, we ended up having, for some reason, which I never heard of this before, but as many bees as there was, I was surprised we hadn't, that we had a beehive that decided to get disrupted. And these bees were, I kind of, like I was telling the kids, they were almost kind of like somebody who's not a morning person trying to get out of bed and get to the bathroom or get to what they're needing to do in the day. And they're kind of wobbly and just kind of like bumping into walls and that kind of stuff. Well, that's the way these bees were acting. They were almost acting, I don't want to call them drunk, but just off. I mean, they were landing in people's hair. I mean, these were honeybees. Usually honeybees have a little bit more couth to them.
Well, they're not interested. They're interested in pollen. That's
Exactly.
what
But
for.
they were, like almost landing on the ground and bubbling over, and they were acting really weird. I don't know if somebody disturbed them and they weren't ready to wake up yet or something. But we ended up having I mean, I saw almost 1,000 bees at one time. It was pretty interwoven in how these bees were, and we had recesses at the time. So it's kind of interesting to watch how different kids cared about nature and how many just kind of were, oh, they were an insect, swat, kill.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
go ahead.
I just got to tell you, my have a good friend. His name is Nathaniel, and he and his wife have decided that they are going to get. Hello there, young man. How you doing?
Thank you for coming and visiting and listening, and please chime in whenever you would like to.
Yeah, if you have a question for Natasha, today is the day. We put out the intention that people are going to ask her questions and they're going to talk to her. So, but in any event, they have a beehive in their house.
In their house.
In their house, it's against one of the walls, and what they did with it is there's an entry or exit out of the house, and then the beehive is right there, and it's plastic, clear plastic, so they can see the bees coming, the bees going, and and moving their the pollen around and stuff like that. And the queen is in that house, and I found it interesting that they have disappeared twice. He's had two different beehives, and they've both disappeared. I asked him where they go, and he has no earthly idea. But they actually all cleared out. So that may have been the process that was happening with your bees, and because there are literally thousands of them that are in the hive at any given time, even if it's a really big hive.
Yeah, I don't know with oh yes, happy new moon. It is amazing new moon. Uh oh,
Oh,
sorry.
that's right. Happy new moon, you guys. I'd like to ask Natasha how she takes how do you take new moon energy? I wish I could say that better. New moon energy.
Well, thank you. And yes, I would love to you know, the new moon, and maybe that's what's going on with the animals, because I also have a Zoom call that I do with one of my students who's remote still, and she had a bird that came into our house. So today was a bird and a bee. Well, birds eat bees. Yeah. That just kind of crossed my mind. So maybe that's part of this new moon energy coming in because I know for me, this new moon was pretty powerful. I had a hard time. I had a hard time, people always say, Natasha, you're never grounded. I get that. I have a lot of my soul energy is about flyers, fairies, angels. Um, my totems are birds, the hawks, the owls. So I do a lot of flying. And so it's really hard for me to ground, but I found myself really dizzy this time, very almost body weird feeling. My tummy was a little bit off and it was just really wonky. And if anybody's wondering, this is Wednesday and Tuesday was the new moon. And so with that every new moon to me has been getting more powerful. We used to at least hospitals around here used to complain about the full moon. People become distraught, this things happen, arguments happen, and that kind of thing. And so with that with all this energy going on, it's been interesting how the new it's I felt like about 2 years ago, a year ago, that the hello, Moxie, and
Moxie from New York. So if anybody,
yes,
and Veronica's here as well. So
yeah,
it's my predictions coming through. We're going to make, we want people to call or to comment so that you have things to answer. So
yes. So we're going to go back through with this new moon energy. That I thought that the energies were going to shift with the planet. So in other words, the South Pole would become the North, and the North would come south, or something would shift there. Actually, it was the moons. About the same time the moons shifted. So in other words, the full moon became a little less powerful, and the full moon or the new moon became more powerful. And I'm finding that they're more and more powerful. Like at school, I had to break up a fight yesterday on the playground. I mean, it's getting more and more treacherous to walk through. Now, this is where I use a mantra, and it was testing even this mantra, this new moon. I attune to the energies of the now. I attune to the energies of the now. Father Sky, Mother Earth, and I do Father Sky because it's an opposite of Mother Earth. No conduit to labeling here, just an opposite. And let me attune to the energies. Let me be the conduit so I can be in the energies of the now, so I can be my greater good. So my body can work through those energies. And as I say that mantra, it does help me kind of, I don't know, I guess, not feel so fragmented. And when I do those mantras, and sometimes I have to do them 2 or 3 times a day because the planets shift many times during the day. And so with that, and I'm very affected by the moons, the Mars, whatever planet is doing its work, I'm very engaged with them, bodily wise, energetically wise. I can get headaches. I can get just dizzy from shifts in the planet. It's kind of amazing when we are sensitive. I don't even want to call it intuitive, energetically sensitive, we're going to be affected. I know a lot of us women can start cycles with the full moon or the new moon. And I know for me, I've always been one of those women because in a year, I can switch from being the full moon to the new moon back to the full moon. And most women are very, no, I'm all over the place. So with that a lot of us are very sensitive. And saying I attune to the energies of the now really helps. You can even do that walking into a room. I do that walking into my day job at the elementary school. I do that sometimes walking or when somebody is coming in a little bit upset. Let me attune to the energies of the now so that I can tune into that grace that we can have together. So I hope that answers your question that to how energies work. It can toss us up and down. And I know for a fact, and I'll let you go here in a second, Kevin,
it's
that
okay.
right now our bodies are being almost pulled to shift and change. And so a lot of us are feeling the energies of the planets changing, because I can tell you that listening to my astrologer that I listen to, Jenna Hickox, that things used to happen, but now it's like, even though they're happening like they always do, like Mars goes into retrograde, we're going to start working into Mercury going into retrograde, but they seem like they have an extra little kick in the behind the end with what they're working us through. And our bodies are feeling that effect.
By the way, did you know that you were right? That the axes have moved?
Hmm.
The northern axis and the southern axis have moved. Yeah, because of global warming,
Mhm.
and that there's more water about. That's just saying. I think you're right, because, by the way, I believe women's bodies have more water in them than men's bodies do, and
Yes.
so therefore you can be much more affected by
Exactly.
the movement of the oceans, and you're much more in tune with that sort of thing than us. We're just kind of not that bright, you say.
No, I would say we have extra organs that help us.
You do have those. That's a
And
fact.
to be honest with you, that it really makes a difference. And like I said, I'm not an astrologer, but I have an understanding of astrology. And there's many of us that have, in our makeup of ourselves, we have planets that may sit more in fire signs, water signs, earth signs, and air signs. Well, you're talking to a double Cancerian with an Aries. So I have like 98% of my planets are in water, and I have like maybe 3, 4 that are in fire and earth. So most of me is a water sign. So emotions are part of my dance. If I'm sitting at a beach, I can actually feel my body starting to shift with the tides or with the waves. And so with that I interact with water. I have a pond in the back, I have water in the front, and I kind of have one waterfall in my front, in my just a little one in my financial corner. And so with that, there's these all these different things that are going on around water lately that is helping us mature. So I would say for anyone right now, it is very important. The cleaner the water you can have, the better you're going to feel, and drink more than not, because many of us are holding on to emotions, and flushing our bodies will help with those.
And you should always have drink a bunch of water anyway. It's
Yeah.
it's it's always handy. So
Mhm.
that's good. So in talking with the birds and the
The
bees,
birds and the bees.
which is what the birds flying into your house and the bees flying into your hair, then you had quite a day today.
They did. They really did. And you're talking to someone, and I know I sound weird. I talk to flies. Fly goes flying around. I say the door's open, and pretty soon it'll take one swoop around. And I can tell by the energy of it that it's looking at what I said. And by the second time, it's like going closer, checking it out. The third time, it's usually flying out the whatever I opened up for it. And so insects have just as much energy field as we do.
There was a movie about that one time. Can't
Mhm.
remember the title of it. It said Flies was in the title, but I can't remember the title.
Yeah.
So, and we started this conversation because, and please, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to tune in, even if you're calling from New York City, which is where Moxie's from. If you want to chime in, if you'd like to talk to Natasha about something that is near and dear to your heart, if you got a question, please feel free. This is the opportunity for you to really kind of engage with her and to see what she's really all about and stuff like that. It's very important. So if you'd like to do that and be our favorite guinea pig rather than a fly or a bird, you can do that, and that would be fun. But what we were also talking about, because you're talking about Mother Nature with everything that is. But before we go there, Susan, who is a regular, she had a ladybug on her head a while ago. I let it ride around on me while I was shopping. That's awfully nice of you, by the way.
Yeah, sometimes I do the same thing just so I can help it get outside of where we're at. It just, it's amazing. So I feel like that in a way that, could you message me? Um,
No, actually, could there be a message for her?
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna do something real quick, Kevin. If you can just kind of give me a second. We took down a couple trees. There again, something of the elements who were passing away, and they gave me permission to take them. Gave us permission to take them down. But my husband is burning something, and I have the window open just a little bit so the fly could get out. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
close it real quick because it's getting kind of smoky.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just kind of sit here and we'll talk with Susan and Veronica and Moxie and Kamala and we'll just see. Now that was fast. I was going to talk about sing and dance a little bit maybe and talk about but I guess we'll have to talk to. Well, let's talk to Moxie and see on they are in New York City and they now first of all here's a couple things I want to make clear to everybody is that when you talk to Natasha, you need to be open. You need to keep your energy open. You need to be looking like you can keep your energy open so that she can communicate effectively. The other thing is you always need to ask her permission. Or no,
Mhm.
she asks your permission before she does anything. Um, I can't dance worth a dang, so although I am Irish by descent, so I could
Yeah.
perhaps learn it, but
Yes, and that's the thing is that I wanna go back to and I will honor you, Moxie, with something, and if you can kinda give me a little bit more hint, because whenever I'm doing a session with someone, it's kinda like trying to tune in to the AM radio station and the FM radio station, or it could be like trying to tune into all the cable stations at one time, and so giving me a little bit more inkling in on what you're asking can help me fine tune it down a little bit more. Because if you're wanting to know a little bit more about the animal messages or if you're wanting to learn if there's something else that's going on, because I can tune into you now that you've given me permission being on here, but yet at the same time though, giving me a little bit more floaty would help me. So I'm liking what Susan said about looking up what the ladybug meant. There is many things that animals instincts represent, like the honeybee. Okay, so knowing what Monday and Tuesday was like with the new moon, everybody saying, but he did that to me yesterday, so I'm going to get him back today. Okay, the honeybee is about community. It's about getting the nectar of life, the sweetness of life. It's about, one does for the other. Have you ever seen a honeybee come into its nest and it's full of pollen, and the other bees come and say, "Are you okay?" And then they clean him off, and then he goes on his way. It's kind of it takes the community to make a little bit of honey. Somebody takes care of the female. There's the protector bees. There's all these different things that are going on. So bees are about, how are you working with your community? Well, I can tell you our school really needed the honeybees because they weren't working well with the community. And with that representation. And then like a crow, the person that I was, the kid that I was working with, she said that it was a crow. Well, crow is about magic. It's about working through with uh, your smarts. Is somebody taking something from you? Because crows are great stealers. They love to steal. So are you having good boundaries around yourself? Is somebody taking something from you? Are they taking your energy? Are they taking your wisdom? Are they taking things from you? They're also about that dark whisper magic. what kind of magic can you create in your life? What good can you bring out of your life? So it's kind of interesting what these birds and bees, even a fly, represents. So she was asking about, what do my spirit guides have to say? Okay. So I'm asking one to come to me, and they can do that like that. What your guide, do actually have a new guide, and he is someone who is an ascendant master. He used to he's tuning in with me, so give me a second here, being on live and then listening to them.
No,
So
just take your time and just do. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm going to take a minute or a second to listen to him. Okay. So Moxie, he is one that he was doing some form of construction. And I don't want to call it the construction of today. He was from back in like the Egyptian days construction. So it took some very well thought out knowledge to navigate. So what he's here to help you with is to have great construction in your life, great flow in your life, great knowledge of your life. So in other words, if you're wanting to build yourself up to start a new profession, he's going to help you with the blocks of foundation for you. So remember that whatever you're going to go into, it's not going to be a fast thing that you're working through. Okay, because you have to build your foundation. So I feel like that when you first asked this question, I felt like you were going through some big shifts, like 99% of us. If we're going through some kind of shift, like me, I'm going through a shift with my body. So that's a new shift for me. So we're all going through something, breaking forth. Maybe we had anxiety. We got to break out of the anxiety to move forward. So with that whatever you're working into, remember that it is about building the foundation. This can take you a week. This can take you a month. This can take you a year. But remember, too long is going to be too long for you. So try to go quicker through the process. In other words, instead of going to a 4-year college, if you can take what do you call it, Kevin? It's the
Community
school,
college,
community college, or the
trade
schools.
school,
What's that?
trade
Trade
school.
school. Or something that can help you, like if you want to become a life coach, what schooling can you do that gets you through a little sooner, but do your foundation work to get there? And he's going to help you with laying that out. So trust your instincts that come to you. Trust if you're flipping through something and all of a sudden you get a word, trust to look at it. It may not be what you need to do, but there's these dot to dots that he's going to lead you to. Okay. You're going to do things and be successful, but remember, each stepping stone is going to lead you to your completion. So trust that process. You're going to be finding out more towards the end of summer, but today and now is your time to do your research, get your stuff together, make sure that if you need money right now, do a job that you can do now to get the finances, but still work towards what you're wanting to do. So sometimes I always say, like at the hand, we can't just do what the thumb wants because we need the other fingers to grab onto what we need to grab onto. So remember that you may need your pointer finger to point you where you're going, but you need your thumb to grab onto what's needing to grab onto. So try to just be patient, trust yourself. They're also saying to me, remember to love yourself. You're going to be perfectly imperfect going through this process.
Do you know how old Moxie is? Do you know
Mm-mm.
her? Him? I don't know. But you mentioned going to school. So what?
No. It's not about going to school. It's about doing whatever you're going to do. That was a metaphor. So whatever you're going to do, work towards it. But you may have to do some research, some schooling of life, get knowledge of life to get where you need to do.
So Moxie, what do you think? Give us. I know she said that's. Oh, she said.
Yes.
Let me see. I'll guess. I'll guess. Moxie, you're 45 years old and you live in New York, and we knew that, and you are searching for something to do with the rest of your life.
Did you
I
know
win.
Kevin's intuitive too? Yeah, so it's one of those things.
She's gonna hang up on me. That's what's gonna happen now.
Yeah. No, I honor you. I honor everyone for what they're going through. And I know that that was kind of opened that yeah, oh wow, you're good. Because I was feeling like you're mid-age too, but yet at the same time, I just want to be one of those things that when somebody is asking for something, I try to give that message that can overlay what's going on. Now, doing a private session with me can get more into the meat of it.
Exactly.
And
By
go
the way,
ahead.
Moxie, that was a wag. You know what a wag is? That was a wild ass guess. She
No,
doesn't
you're more
she
intuitive
doesn't
than you
guess.
think, Kevin.
She doesn't guess, she knows. But no, that was a wild ass guess. So, but we appreciate you. We appreciate you engaging with us. That's the important thing that we're trying to get through, Veronica, is we want everybody to engage with us, Susan, and stuff like that. So it would be great for you to do that.
Yes.
So in any event, let's see. And she says,
Oh, trying to heal. Mhm.
"Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we all are trying to heal. I tell you."
Well, and two that that as we're working on life, I can tell you myself, my body is going through yeah.
Now that was another language, I think, but I'm not sure what language that was. But it sure was interesting.
So with that our bodies are going through some big shifts and changes, and the more spiritual you get, you'll find your body will go through more shifts. So with that as we go through life and going through what we're going through, kind of like for me, okay? So I'm going to use myself as an example right now. That my father's side of the family had colon cancer. That's their story. I'm not having that story. What I feel like is that I'm creating a new road for my family, my life to go down. Not my family history. So my digestive system is navigating it like it's like a bulldozer trying to make a new road, and it's not quite sure how it wants to navigate. In other words, I've become where I have to take a break from vinegar, tomatoes, corn, dairy's always been a little bit, but it's really getting, even butter is getting. So as we work towards something, changing something, many times we'll get symptoms that our body is trying to say, I'm not too sure how to do this, because the story was, now I'm creating a new story, so how do I write the new story? And there's these questions. And so for me, I'm doing a naturopath. I'm honoring my body as much as I physically can, emotionally can, spiritually can, to navigate so that my body can say, you're listening to me. So if my body doesn't want me to eat vinegar anymore, so that means ketchups, mayonnaise, salad dressings, um, all these different things, I'm cutting them out because I want to have my body be healthy. So if I listen to it, it's going to be healthier. Now, those people who choose not to listen and they still do things, then they're going to have more and more struggles. Now, the body will talk to us in different ways. Okay, for me, tomatoes, rash, but my ear, I get really bad sharp pains up my jaw and into my ear. And like I'll have like an ear infection feeling for almost 24 hours after I eat something that's wrong. So every time I chew or bite, or my ear just aches, but my jaw, it's almost like a tooth, like you had a tooth that went bad all of a sudden when you bit down. It's just pain that shoots through. And so with that even though my digestive system is saying don't eat it, it's my upper area that's saying it. So actually my tongue and my taste buds are saying don't eat that before it even hits my gut. So with that as we do things, our bodies will talk to us. A little bit of a headache, our throat might get a little tingly, might feel just a little bit oozy in our tummies. There's these little whispers that happen. And then if we don't listen, it becomes extreme. Now, my body doing its shifting, obviously it went from green to a red stop sign in pretty much a day. And so it had to tell me to stop because I wasn't quite listening all the way to the smallest whisper.
And Susan, we're going to get to you in just a moment because we need to spend some time with you on this. But we're going to talk to Moxie just because she's been nauseated lately as well, and she's been feeling not terrific.
Yes.
I just want to say, but if there, I just want to say this to you, Moxie. If you're searching for and learning how to be more spiritual and wanting to be more spiritual, what I want you to do is go to a metaphysical bookstore, or go to Barnes and Noble or the bookstore you have in the area. And I want you to go to the spiritual section, and I want you to pick the first book that talks to you, and then take that book and read it home, and take it home and read it. And that will give you insight, but you just open yourself up and take it. That's what I did 20 years ago. And I found the book that quite literally changed my life. So please do that, because it will make a difference for you, as well as watching what you're eating and figuring out what that is. Because as Natasha can tell you, the digestive system is a complicated bit of technology.
It is. And I also, if you go to my website, I also have a group of sessions that I can do for someone at a cheaper price than doing a session. So that if you're wanting to walk into a spiritual path, and you're wanting to find out your spiritual path, because everybody's is different, that I can help support your gifts opening up. I'm doing that with another client that is here. And as we work through that you start trusting those different things. But I'm going to tell you, some of us have digestive problems because we're not digesting our life. And I even have to look at that. Am I digesting my life? In other words, am I accepting, surrendering, and trusting the process of what our life is going through? And sometimes we're human and it's like, holy crap, I don't like that change. But we can do that at the beginning. But how soon do we turn around and say, okay, I give and I surrender? So when I was saying that, do you know what my gut said when I said, I don't like this change? I got kind of knots right here. And as soon as I accept it, I felt the flow going. So our bodies tell us. And that's part of going back to the very beginning when I was asked about how do I adapt to the new moon energy. And Camille, he asked that, but that's part of digesting our life. Now, I also have a mantra that I use. I'm digesting my life. I'm accepting, I'm trusting, and I'm surrendering to the new that is happening in my life. And the thing that I do is I go, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life, and then I go down through my digestive system, and then I kind of do the flow out so that everything flows through. I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life. There are these things that we can do to help us walk through our life. Also, did you know that we have energy spots that release our body, or the energies of our body? So like for me, when I'm in the shower and I'm washing my feet, I take the energy down the back side of my heel, and then I go and I pull on my toes. And that will help release the energy out of the bottom of the because the left side is about what energy we take in. The right side is about what energy do I release. And so as I work with that, but I on both sides, I take the energy, wash my feet down, and pull on my toes to help the energy shoot out my feet. So my website is angelicclarifications.com. angelicclarifications.com.
And Mo, we're going to talk to you in just a moment because I would like you to contribute to this conversation. But we're going to go talk to Susan. And what Susan has to say is her son has been in a bit of a depression in the last couple of weeks. Do you see any problems with his new blood pressure medication? He's already taking anti-anxiety meds for a few years, and that's helping. Natasha?
Okay, so let me take a second and tune in with this because I'm going to ask the permission of the higher self of your son to ask this. And that's the thing. Sometimes if we can't ask the person, I can go to their higher self and ask the guides if I have permission. Because that's one thing. I have integrity. I have morals and values that I do not invade anybody unless they ask me permission. Now, if I walk by somebody and in their aura field, I can feel that they're depressed, that's kind of like radaring, it's like somebody's cell phone ringing and you can hear it. It's just out there and you can kind of support that. But finding individual things, that's not for me to know until I get permission. Okay, so I'm going to ask his guides. He's been struggling with the new energies. There was a big shift with the last full moon, which was 2 weeks before the new moon. So what was that? That was the end of April, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, a coworker broke up with her boyfriend at that time. It was a very powerful moon. And then drudging ourselves, and I'm going to say that drudging, it's like drudging out the river. Drudging out ourselves for the last 2 weeks has been very very interesting. I've struggled. My stomach has been off, and no COVID, not ill. I had a migraine on Saturday that I couldn't lay down because I can only sit up for the whole day. I couldn't even sleep. I had to try to sleep sitting up because I was so nauseated, and I haven't been that nauseated with a migraine in a very long time. There's just something that is going on with our nervous system. And our nervous system is attached to our brains, our breathing system, our air system, our digestive system of our heart, and then our digestive system of our body and how we work. And so with that we've been very wonky. We've had many kids that have had problems with stomachs issues because of the energy that's been out there. So there's been something that has been going on. I'm going to tap in and say, Sue, that your son is not. Okay, I'm going to be using carefully that word, not. He's in a moment where he has some new ideas coming in, and he's having a hard time respecting and honoring this new path, and it's hitting him emotionally, physically, and spiritually. He's struggling with that. And so with that he's doing good with his in a part of him, but yet at the same time, though, he is really struggling with, I'm going to just call it the growing up phase. And I know that what age he is, and so I can tap into him different. Sue and I have worked many years together, so I know a lot of the backstory here. That as he's doing this, but he's struggling with this. Take his bottle of medicine, Sue, And he can even do this and ask the energies of the medicine to adapt to his new energy. Many of us don't do this. When we're going to take medicine, when we're going to take vitamins, when we're drinking water, ask the energies, just hold our hands and ask the energies, can you, or please adapt to the energies of the now for me, adapt to my body, let the flow of the body and the energy work with together so that we can go to our greater good. Let our story connect for our greater good. And if you can do that, that might help the new medicine and the old medicine work together with his new knowings in the middle.
Now, when she says, thank you, but when I try and teach him, his brain shuts down. What's that about, Natasha?
It's because he's in that mode of, I don't want to grow up. And that's a simple concept to the greater picture.
It's not so simple. Not wanting to grow up that's the hardest part of being a young adolescent male.
It is. But that's the simplest way to say the complicated thing that I'm feeling. And he's going to get into that age where, I'm going to be honest here, with my kid, when she turned 18, got her first job, and graduated from school, I said, okay, universe, sorry, your turn to teach. Because as a mother, I was being shut down. So it was time for the universe to do its work. And I apologized because I tried to build the foundation, but the walls still needed to be built, and it was up to the universe and that kind of thing. Yes, and that's the way things show up. The panic attack. Okay, so I'm going to say something that I'm praying that I don't offend somebody, because it can. That many of us through our lives have practiced something and gotten a payoff for it. We've practiced something and we've gotten a payoff for it. Okay, so I'm going to go to me because I know me. Okay, I have a shoulder thing, arm thing that I like when I put my fingers up, my arms up, my fingers go numb really quickly. Okay, so many of this started when I was 21. So as I have done this, that when my kids were young, my body kept saying, if I hurt my kid, then I don't have to vacuum. I hurt, I don't have to do the shower. I hurt, I don't have to lift the pans, the heavy water pans, you know. So I had to, and I said I had to because this was me, because I knew I didn't want to stay this way, so I had to. That's why I'm using that word, because it's me, and I wanted to change. I can talk to my body. Okay, so body, I know that you hurt because of this. I understand you're going to hurt anyways, but there's an extreme that we go into. I'm done with that pain. So I'm going to respect you by saying, okay, today we're going to go fill up our water pans to boil water or whatever for noodles. And so I would do that, but I would honor my body by putting it in the center of the sink so that it was supported, so I didn't have to hold it up. And then I would carry it over. And as I started doing that, I said to my body, now remember, we're not going to pain to get somebody else. I'm going to honor you by telling you what I'm going to do first. So let's go say we're going to go clean the shower. Okay, so body, we're going to go clean the shower, but I'm not going to go weeding and then go clean the shower. I'm going to honor you, body, by not going and doing two things that trigger you. But remember, we're not going to go into a pained body to get somebody else to do something for us. And it took a little bit of time to practice working that out of there. And I can tell you it's paid off doing that.
Well, and I want to try and chime in on this because being a man and all, lots of conversations recently about what's next after high school, pinging on his anxiety. I can tell you from personal experience, based upon what everybody else is doing. Some are going to college, some are going to trade school, some have got a job lined up. If it can be an extraordinarily difficult moment in a young man's life because he has no earthly idea. People ask you all the time, so you're 18, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Shh, heck, I don't know. I'm just
Mhm.
18. So go ahead, Natasha. That's what I'm
And
feeling.
and that's the struggle because he's had the comfort of home. He's had the comfort of doing things at his own time. And so with that it's about finding those scenarios. Like maybe he just needs to do the carts out in Fred Meyer or, do something that gets him to where he can work and work the schedule that's to his benefit. So if he's not a morning person, get jobs that work him more in the evening time. There's a lot of people, like some people at who are janitors of our school, that like to work in the evenings because there's nobody in the schools and they can deal with things in their own time and their own energy. They don't have to work with the energies of the school. So there's finding those things that can work. And Sue, I would suggest taking the pedal off and just giving him an idea. Okay, by this time, I want you to start thinking about putting one application in. And I know that he needs coaching, and a lot of people are doing this. They're finding that they've had the comfort of home, doing things in their own time, that they're going to struggle getting out and doing things. Our bodies are going to go into a mode of panic because, oh crap, I don't know what it's like to go there anymore. Practice makes better, getting out of the comfort zone. But I can tell you that not having, like, giving my kid no more money, cutting back on those things. Okay, you're getting to that age, so you're gonna have to start supporting your own life. And so I would do these things. And I understand panic attacks are scary as hell. I've had a couple of myself. At the same time, the only way we know how to work through them is working through them.
And this is Mo, and she's telling Susan that she's graduating from grad school. Okay, by the way, congratulations
Yes.
on getting through grad school. That's never easy. And I'll tell you what, you're feeling the same, but yeah, trust me. The right thing is just it's gonna show up. Just
Hmm.
put that Natasha, talk about intention because intention is
Oh,
very clear here. Uh,
yes. Intention is very clear. So thank you for that, Kevin. This new moon, I actually had to work on that myself. um, that for me, I'm finding out that there's certain things I can't eat. So I was kind of going into a funk with this new moon. Oh crap. I'm gonna have to eat lettuce dry because my husband was naming off all these salad dressing ideas, you know, um, and I'm very picky. So, there's, try some non-dairy yogurt. Yeah, I don't even like the texture of yogurt. It's like, so there's these things that we have to work through. So I'm eating lettuce dry. Not that easy sometimes when everything is dry that you're eating. So I was kind of going into a little bit of a funk, but then I stopped myself and I said, okay, what is my intention? This is a new moon. What is my intention? I'm creating a new structure for myself. I'm creating a new health with myself. I'm creating a new idea of how to navigate this with myself. I'm willing to express myself in a different road. So I started using different intentions on what my language could be because language is huge. So if we start saying, oh, I'm so scared to do that. Well, what are you telling yourself? So sometimes I have to use the mantra, I'm perfectly imperfect, going to go forward and try. I'm perfectly imperfect, going to go forward and try. Now, you're talking to someone who is very dyslexic. I didn't even read really until after high school, and if it wasn't for Louis L'Amour Westerns, I wouldn't have read. Matter of fact, I'm grateful that Kevin reads half the time because I could not read half the time of what is on there because of the way that my eyes dance around. So with that as I do things, there's a part of me I have to trust. And I'm going to let everyone know that there's a part of them in this life that we have had a past life that we've done what we're scared of doing in this lifetime. So trust that part of you that's willing to help you go through that. And I'm going to say that again. Trust that part of you that's willing to go through the process of that. And I'll give you an example. I teach in the elementary school system. I was in the resource room, which is helping kids who are like sixth graders reading at a third grade level. I had to teach fractions. My son, who's a mathematician, says, "Mom, fractions are your friends." I said, "No, we're getting to know each other. We're kind of getting friendly." So I had to teach fractions to these kids. Well, around the table, I had 4 boys and 1 girl, all different forms of ADHD, and 1 who was ADD. So in other words, all hyper, all different modes of attention spans. And then 1 had I'm just going to call it a demon attached. And this was not a good demon. He was from the dark side. So I let my angel work with the gentleman with the demon so it would stay in tow. And I turned my tool belt around. I have this metaphorical tool belt that I wear to pull out the tools that I need. And I just said, "Okay, whoever you are inside of me that knows greater, teach this fraction." So as I was writing on the whiteboard, making sure everybody was paying attention, doing what I was doing, trusting myself, talking about it, trusting myself as I go, because we're all intuitive in part of us. Doing this, I looked at the answer. I looked at my paper. Did it have the answer? I had the answer. The kids all said, "I got it." And the demon was in tow with what was going on. He later was told to get out of the room, but at that minute I couldn't do that because I had to keep the sixth grade boys in tow, fifth and sixth grade boys in tow. So with that there's always a part of us, if we trust it, will help us get through. But sometimes, this is what I do. Sometimes if I have fear sitting in front of me where I can't see where to go, or if I have uncertainty, or if I just have sitting in front of me, I ask it to step aside. Okay, ask it to step aside and hold on to it like a friend. "Okay, guys, okay, we're going to try this, but you're going to have to say, we got to try." Okay, you have to be willing to give. And if we talk to our emotions, that helps us move forward. But many of us have these emotions that sit in front of us and we can't see around it to get where we need to go because fear might have been our go-to that protected us, kept us out of harm, kept us out of from doing things that were embarrassing. But now, as an adult, it's not giving us a chance to feel successful. And so if we ask it to step aside so that it can be on the journey with us, be a witness of us, many times we can go forward. And when we're going through processes, and I can tell you that me taking in high school an F because I wouldn't even stand in front of a class and then doing this today, I know there's been a couple years in between, but at the same time, though, going from not being able to speak to trusting myself to speak, it took a lot of, I can do it. I'm going to have to trust it. Like when I went to Toastmasters and the first time I did it, I can't write notes and read them. I can't do that. It distracts me. So I just stood up there and I told a story that I knew. And guess what? People were amazed. The first time I went up and talked, my 3-minute speech, they were like, "You did that the first time without reading?" And I go, "Yeah." because I couldn't do the other way. I had to trust that part of me that knew what to do. And yes, fear is very paralyzing. But that's what fear is for, is to give us a chance to say, should I think about it? But many of us let fear stay there and don't let us think about it. So try taking fear and say, thank you for honoring me. I understand. Okay, I got to take a minute here. But when I get that fear, just like talking about this, I had that moment of fear. I took kind of a second and said, wait a minute, we got to trust what we're going to say. And as we do that, we can move forward. But practice makes better. People want to be perfect. Practice makes better. So I've given you a couple mantras in this. Practice makes better. Perfectly imperfect. I'm digesting my life. I'm tuning to the energies of the now. Go ahead, Kevin. You're going to say something?
You must be psychic.
No, you went and stopped because I was still talking.
No, no, couple things. First of all, Mo, it's great to have you here, and thank you for participating in the show with us.
Yes.
It is, and I'd like to point out, first of all, that as far as setting the intentions go, if you set the intentions, great things will happen. I promise you that.
Yes.
Because we asked for people that we didn't even know who they were to show up today and ask questions, and we set the intentions, and you did it. And I want to give you one more, is that I learned this week. There was a lyric from, see, music speaks to me. There's a lyric from a song that was written 50 years ago, and the lyric was, "The movement you need is on your shoulder." And what I didn't realize, and what this is from Hey Jude, from Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and what Paul McCartney, who wrote it, didn't realize at the time, is that as you move through life, the movement you need is sitting there on your shoulder, and that's who loves you and is going to take care of you, and that's your guide on the other side. Okay,
Exactly.
I'm done.
Well, and I'm going to give an example. I kept my intentions well today. That I know that it's a day where I didn't even have time to eat breakfast because my day just went do 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 do. Well, and then I had the stress of the bees and kids, getting stung at recess. So I came in, and then I had to get something for a teacher that I'm working in her classroom. So she wanted me to get something. So I had about 5 minutes to eat lunch. Well, I was like, my body really is hungry and it really needs to eat lunch. Can I have some? I just need more time to eat lunch. Well, guess what? My next client ended up having a bird come into her house. And so I couldn't do my Zoom session with her. So guess what I had? I had time to eat lunch because I kept my intentions loving, kindness, for the greater good. Yes, boundaries. And as we go through things and keep our intentions, sometimes life does pan out. Now, I'm going to tell you, sometimes it doesn't pan out the way we want to. Now, I'll give you another example. That I used to have a hair business and I worked for myself. And as I did that, and I'm going to finish the story for a second before
I
we
know.
go into that.
I
Thank
know.
you. That as I was working for myself, my shoulders, like I told you, I have a shoulder thing, decided to really complain. And my hand would cramp and it would stop. And once I would have to almost move my fingers to get my fingers to move. And so I ended up having to quit doing my hair business. Well, going on disability insurance gave me a chance to be home, for one, with my kids. Well, guess what? My mom ended up with Lou Gehrig's disease. So me being home on disability insurance, not doing my hair, gave me a chance to take care of my mom. So the synchronicity of things, even though I wasn't I've always been intuitive, but yet in the last, since my mom passed away, I started doing this business, that doing it as a business, I should say. That as we work forward, sometimes the synchronicity in life helps us be where we need to be. It's that following the breadcrumbs to get there and trusting that process. Kind of like with me, when I had a feeling to call into the radio station, Kevin was on with Regan Forston, and they were talking about past lives, and I said, I remember being born. Not a meditation, it's a memory I've had my whole life. And so I started talking to Regan about it, and then I became a kind of a co-person on the show, and now we have Life Between Lives on Mondays at 4 on YouTube and my Facebook page. And as we go through things, synchronicities happen. What is our intention? Do we listen to that inner voice in ourselves? And when we listen to the breadcrumbs, you never know. It's kind of like driving down the road and all of a sudden this billboard pops out and 3 words. Look in the dictionary. Well, look in the dictionary and open up to see what word pops out to you. And maybe there's the word that you needed to listen to. You never know why things happen. Kind of like the bees today. Why was there a swarm of bees? Well, now that I really look at it, yeah, we needed the community to change. We needed to think greater than ourselves, because this bigger picture of where we're at in this world isn't about, he hit me yesterday. It's about, how can I be kind today?
I yell at Eddie Lassie. I've got rejections for work today and wanted to connect back to the bigger picture. So she's really happy that she's been able to dialogue with you, and it's really important. By the way, sometimes work sucks. Sometimes you're going to have a bad day. Sometimes you have a good day. But know, and I don't mean think. I mean know that you're better than it. You're better than it all, and you're going to be just fabulous. Believe it and know it.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you, because my kid is right now struggling with getting work. But there's something that we learn through every process. So really go, if I can invite this to you, find out, what was this here to teach me? Ask yourself that question. What is this here to teach me? You being rejected, you chose that word, rejected. What does rejection truly mean to you? Because maybe you just weren't the person that the universe thought was better for the job. So you going to rejection compared to, well, it didn't work out. There's something about where we're at in life teaches us for the next greater good. Now, I'm going to tell you that in that job, there was going to be somebody that you were going to have really big conflict with, and it's better that you weren't there. There's also something about the bosses going to be changing jobs, and you're healthier emotionally, physically, and spiritually not being in that job. So I'm inviting you to, if you can, start thinking, and we're still in the new moon energy. Okay. So start thinking, I want a job that has light and love in its being. I want to be able to walk into this job with compassion, that everybody that works there has compassion. I want to find a job. A job is going to find me. Change the words. The job is going to find me that makes me feel successful. The job that's going to find me and I'm going to connect with it is going to give me the balance of financialness. My finances are finally going to be taken care of because this job is in sync with me. So with that, there's these things that we can use with our words. I want a man who has compassion for himself and others. I want a being with me. And it could be man, woman. It could be, your co-person. I'm just putting a language to it. You fit the language to you. So whatever I said about that job, go for the person. I want a person in my life. They can be my companion, who can work with me, understand the pros and cons that we have in life. Think about how we walk through life, how we work through life. And Mo, there was no wrong synchronicity to you finding me today. So thank you for trusting that process. As we work through life and as we do life, I would start writing it down. Phone, paper, whatever you can do. The job that is coming to me sooner than later will help me feel successful. Will have love and kindness in all its co-workers. Whoever I'm going to be in sync with my co-workers and my bosses. I'm going to be attuned to the energies of the now daily so that I can be my greater good. So that when we're being called into these jobs, things will shift and change for that. Because remember, the job that you're going for, maybe that person hasn't left yet, that you need to fill that position. So sometimes there's this thing. So whenever I write down on my goals or my new moon contract or my full moon contract, because new moon's about new beginnings, full moons are about endings, that I always say this or something better. And I always say, I want this done in universal time and in human time. Because spiritual time is a different timeline than the human timeline. So I always say, I want this as soon as possible in the spiritual timeline and the human timeline. So, and then say thank you after you've written it because you already received it. The only thing that's stopping us is us believing that we can have it.
And Mo, if I may, please, Mo, using the word rejection and Moxie's absolutely right. I don't know what field you're in, doesn't matter. But if I was in the sales field for many years and I had a sales force of 10 people, I always told them that you don't get rejected. If it doesn't work out, say next. It's going to be the next one. You're going to be fine. It's going to work out perfectly for you as you wish it to down the road. Sometimes it's better to have somebody say no because sometimes it's a much more difficult kind of, like Natasha said, that could have been a very bad situation. We don't know. But when you say that you are rejected, then that means that you take that very personally.
Yes. And a lot of times it's not personal. And I mean that with love. It's not personal. Okay, so an example, I've in my first marriage had several miscarriages. Okay. Though that miscarriage, my body rejecting that being, and I said rejected for a reason, because at that time I felt rejected. Okay. There is a feeling of rejection, but I wanted to move through. I don't want you to stay in pain and victim. I want you to move through it if you can. It's okay to be there for a minute. Ouch, that hurt. Be there in that rejection, but I'm going to say move forward. Because after I realized it wasn't the rejection of the soul, it was the bigger picture, that 9 months later, I found out that my ex-husband was messing around on me. And if I would have had a child, trying to move out, trying to take care of myself, being a young woman, not really having a job, having a successful job, I would have been struggling. That child would have been really hurt because I wouldn't have been successful, or wouldn't have had even the money for my own food, that I would have hurt that child, and that child wouldn't have started out with a better life. That the universe that I had was taking care of me. Plus, I did not have to deal with that man in my life for the rest of my life, having that child. So there was some greater good that the soul of that child did not want to manage that I was put into, or that I would have put that child into, and it decided to leave. So there's reasons why things happen. Now, I'm not going to say that nobody should feel the pain. Nobody should cry. It's okay to have the moment of, ow, that hurt. And have that moment. It's kind of like the grief that I had around my mom. I still, 22 years later, I still have moments where I give myself a night of grief. I put on a soppy movie, the house goes dark, and I just cry. And then the next morning I say, okay, grief, you had a time. It's time for us to get moving. I need to go do my things. I need to go do what I need to do. And if we give ourselves a chance to navigate through that moment, feel it, but don't let it stay there and block us, let it move forward, move around. We can get where we're needing to be. But remember to honor yourself. It's okay. Like Mo said that she cried a bit and it helped her. Yes, cry. But remember that we're human going through emotions, and emotions can get stuck in victimhood. And when we get a no, many times that triggers being a younger child and being known by being told by no from a parent or somebody else, and we get into that mode of young childhood that we lose track of what the bigger picture is. What is this here to teach me? I'm offering you when something happens to you, good or bad, you know, or perceived bad or perceived good. What is this here to teach me? How can I move forward? What words can I use? What words can I move forward with? I gave you some examples of some words. You can change the wording around a little bit. If it's for a man that you want in your life, if it's a new job, if you want a new car, if you want something in your life, apply some of the words that I used earlier. Remember, this is on video, so you can always rewind it and play it again for certain parts.
It will be on YouTube, and it will. As a matter of fact, you're going to be a star on YouTube, you guys. I've been. By the way, I'd like to thank you guys. It's been awesome, and I'm glad that we helped.
Yes.
It's been wonderful. And if you want to pull cards real quick, you better hurry. We've been doing this.
I know, 511. Yes. So if anybody would like to go to my Facebook page or Instagram page, Natasha Venter, 96 on Instagram, and Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications on Facebook. I do inspirational quotes to help with these day-to-day moments. Sometimes it's about the just needing that inspiration. Sometimes I just even say the word breathe because I feel like as a collective, we've forgotten to breathe. So with that I use these moments to do. And on my Facebook or my YouTube page, there's plenty of videos to help support moments in life. So with that, please go and get some free advice because it's out there.
I would prefer that you go to Angelic Clarifications and get in touch with Natasha and spend some time with her. She truly is a remarkable healer and counselor, and uses her gifts and the other side very well. And so and I've been around. I'm not a rookie at this. I've been doing this for somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 years. So I worked with a lot of folks, and I just want to thank you guys for being here, and Natasha's going to pull some cards, and it's remarkable when she does that how they tend to fall in line with what the theme of the show has been, and so I appreciate it. So Natasha, take it away.
Okay, so with this, it's about truth. Okay, now this is a path. It depends on what word you put in here. Depends on the path is always going to be the same. So no matter what we do, if we put fear here, what is the path going to be? We're going to notice it's going to have more places that are going to stumble us. If we go through the part of like truth here, it's cleaner, it's more enlightened. So remember, you can make your own path be more negative or more positive. It depends on your perspective. Okay, so truth. Remember that truth comes to you. It's going to come to you. What is this here to teach me? That is one of the best mantras. That is my go-to mantra. No matter what happens in my life, like the bees today. What is this here to teach me? The bird, 20 minutes later, flying into the kid's, house. What is this here to teach me? Even though it was her house, what is this here to teach me? Take a moment, take a breath. Truth will come forth if we're willing to look. Because we're going to have feelings and emotions. Water fairy. The element of water represents emotions. And so in the shower, remember, great place to release. drinking water and flushing it out, the process of it going through your body, remember, release. So emotions and feelings. The water fairy wants to help you through them. We're all going through this. This is the year of just learning how to deal with our emotions. So remember, it's okay to have the truth of what your emotion is here to teach you. Because we have the night of Gale, the Grail night. There we go. There again, trying to read. So romance, illusion, seeking the sacred. So remember that as we walk, and the more we walk into life with kindness, with truth, with knowing that we're perfectly imperfect, the illusion of life is going to become more solid because we're going to release the illusion and get down to the heart of things. Know that you have the strength to be vulnerable. Know that you're okay to go forward with what's going on. That as we go, you're protected. Because we all have angels. We all have guides. We all have something in us that knows what to do. So trust that. Because the Earth Fairy, because I heard to pull one more card, the Earth Fairy wants to help. The Earth Fairy is about physical health, grounding, and foundation. So remember what I told, I think it was Moxie, about the foundation. Remember, we're building new foundations of our new story. What is the new story of your book, and what do you want to put into it? Do you want to put trauma into it? Or do you want to write a wonderful romance story about new jobs, new loves? Just even a coworker with a kindness is a romance story. How can we have romance, kindness, fluidity? Romance to me is about, you can have romance with a flower because you're just enjoying it. You're in the mode of being with it. So trust that process as you're walking through life, because the earth and the water fairies want to help you through your day to day. So trust the grounding, trust the foundation that you're creating, and trust that your emotions in the shower, when you're drinking water, attuning to the energies of the now, can support you in your day to day walk. And I hope that these mantras that I gave you in this hour will help you navigate through some of these things that you're going, because I'm going to tell you, us digesting our life, I'm digesting my 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 life, will help you be able to keep a healthier body.
Sounds good. Let's see. So, well, that's awesome. Then thank you, Natasha, for doing that. And Moxie says, very nice, and thank you. It's great to have you guys here, and we're looking forward to next time. By the way, we do this every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and so we're here for you. So tell your friends, tell other folks about her, because she's very, very good, and it's can help. And I hope we've helped today. That's
Mondays and Wednesday, 4 o'clock Pacific time, I'm on. Mondays, it's Life Between Lives, and here it's Life Clarifications. Pacific time, 4 o'clock
and,
Pacific time.
And the rest of the time, it's My Independence Report. I talk to all kinds of folks, so I hope you'll go through MyIndependenceReport.com and look at some of the things. I've got 285 episodes. So, and most of them are, and Natasha's been on a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So everything that we've done in regards to Life Between Lives and life clarifications, we do with that, and we just have fun. And by the way, I just want to leave this with both of you, is that because I can see you, but follow your passion, mm-hmm. Follow your heart. Live life to the fullest, and don't leave anything on the table.
Yes. And that's the thing too. Your body will tell you which direction to go. Listen to it. If something doesn't feel right, you're going to feel, and if something feels right, you're going to feel, but you might feel this when you're a little bit scared or angst too. But remember, starting something new, you're going to feel that angst. You're going to feel that fear. So trust it, because remember, your angels, no matter what you believe in, your guides, no matter what you believe in, are there to support you and guide you. Pay attention though, because it will be there for you. Please go to Natasha or go to angelicclarifications.com, or you can email me at Natasha at angelicclarifications with an S at the end.com.
Thank you guys for being here, and we appreciate y'all. Have a great day, everybody.
Blessings.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.